Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday, March 9th, 2016 meeting of the Planning Board for the Town of Dudley. Present this evening, Tom Holt, Vice Chairman, Marcia Wagner, Clerk of the Board, Mark Mazziotti, Member, myself, Guy Horn, Chairman, and we have our interim town planner, Chris Ryan from Central Mass Regional Planning. And the first item on our agenda, item A, approval of minutes from January 27th. And we have some meeting notes from February 10th because there was no quorum for February 10th, so we just have the meeting noted. There'll be no vote on February 10th, but January 27th, there is minutes. That meeting went back to Lyons Estate subdivision proposed name change.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the Wednesday, January 27th meeting minutes, since I read them.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
A second.
We have a second. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Okay, so that takes care of the minutes. The next item on our agenda, item B, 41 Corbin Road. It's an A&R plan with Mr. Para.
The plan as submitted is a lot line readjustment. There's no new lots being created. They're just moving the lot lines around to match the use of the property.
Okay, so it looks like there's going to be a 1,740 square foot piece going to Hanson parcel, and in return, a 1,006 square foot parcel going to the Berthium parcel. Is that right?
And then another
Oh, yep. 3,100 square feet.
100 square feet from Hanson to Berthium.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just for your information, I did put a planner's report together, and the two items that are on the agenda tonight, I do have a small item in regard to each of them under tab D.
D. Okay. Would you like to go over that, Chris?
Sure. The application was complete. Both parcels have access and frontage adjustments. As I saw them, were apparently based on trying to establish proper setbacks, but it was clarified by Mr. Para. I do note that one adjustment absorbs part of an easement on the other lot. The question that I had was what has to be done at the registry to allow for this? Is there anything that is of any concern there? And the larger lot only shows in full on the locator map. Is that sufficient for the board? Those are the two questions that I had.
Okay.
Those are very refreshing comments.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think given the fact that this is just a lot line change, I think what we have is reasonable for what we need to approve. And I think you were asking for one waiver.
Yeah, not to show the topographical contours.
Okay. All right, so that's a,
Seeing how there's
yeah.
no construction being proposed by this.
That is a typical waiver that we've gotten.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to allow the waiver for the A&R plan of land on 39 Corbin Road. Deed book 11-295 and 12-2109. Deed book and page 17509-395 and 45330-192. Plan book and page 697-8. Dudley tax map 215, parcel 43 and 44. And I so move.
Okay, we have a motion for the waiver of topography. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the waiver of topography. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous? Okay, so now we'll be looking for a motion to approve the A&R plan of land for 39 Corbin Road.
The check has been received for $200, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion for the same A&R plan, 39 Corbin Road, deed book 11-295 and 12-2109, deed book and page 17509-395, 45330-192, plan book and page 697-8, Dudley tax map 215, parcel 43 and 44, and I so move.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous? Okay, we just have to sign a couple copies.
Oops, sorry.
Goes way back, huh?
Mr. Parra, do you typically bring us copies once you get that back to your office?
No, typically what we'll do is if we could take two of the copies that were in our books, we'll sign 2 copies and
Okay.
give them back to you.
Have this one?
Yep.
That is a good new sound system.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Two paper copies. You got 2 there? Yep. Oh, there's one already here, Marcia. Marcia, there's already one here. So you can sign that one. And then this one goes in. Yeah, he said he will take care of it. The drawing's right.
Mr. Chairman, you typically sign these as well? Oh, you got those?
I signed these 2 already, so we can just have the rest of these things. You sign this, that would be great. Okay, Mr. Parra, I think this is what you're looking for. Yep, have a good night.
Good night.
We need to sign this one?
You circulated one. Is another one being circulated?
Yeah, I think we got 2.
Right there.
Okay.
So, yep, this one's all right, okay. So you should have one already signed, right?
Yes.
And when you have the forms signed, I can,
Yep, we'll give them right back
put
to you.
those in the file.
That's the last one. Go. Okay. All right, so moving right along, next item on the agenda is item C, lot release, Piapi Estate subdivision. I believe this was on Sunset Drive.
That's correct.
Okay, would you like to give a little bit of background to the rest of the members, what this is about?
Absolutely. So this was a referral from the building department. Apparently, a woman who was looking to close her house sale, found that through the title search and all the other record searches that this house had not been released from what was called in our records Piapi Estates, but otherwise called Sunset Drive. So she's moving. In fact, she's probably already moved, and her attorney is taking care of all the closing here in Massachusetts. But she asked us to consider the release of her lot, which she said the records show has not been done yet. She's provided information, and I went to the building or the assessor's office and got the information, which is under your tab C, and also filled out a Form E with the proper information related to the book and page number. So I understand that this is something that is done from time to time, so hopefully I have all the information that you need.
Yeah, so this would be just a simple vote to release this lot. I don't know if other members were on the board or not, but probably about, I'm going to say 6 or 7 years ago, we had a lot that was in Misty Meadows Estates that was never released, and there was a house built upon it, and the people couldn't move in that house at the time because the lot wasn't released. So we went ahead and released that lot after the fact, but it was done. So
What causes the lot not to be released?
just at sometime, typically the thing that's in place to keep the lot from being built upon is the building inspector. Usually the building inspector is supposed to go and look at to see if the lot's released before he issues a building permit, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes the building inspector doesn't realize it's in a subdivision. Like if this subdivision was built in different phases and that lot sat for a long time, he could have just thought it was a vacant lot and that somebody came along and bought it and it was already released. Or, you know, building inspectors change and one doesn't know what the last one did. So it happens.
Yep.
Okay.
So Form E is typically the form that's used to release lots. All the information seems to be here.
And then once you, if you so choose to approve it and endorse it, I will have this notarized. I will sign it and have it notarized by Michelle.
Okay.
So has any research been done indicating that this lot, it was just an error that this was not recorded or released, or?
Well, the house, the lot was built upon, the house was sold, the people moved in, the road's accepted by the town, and now the first owners are trying to sell the house to the second owners, and the title search has come up with an encumbrance on the title that says that the lot's not released from the covenant of the town of Dudley, so.
Yeah, but what if way back when there was a reason for that, and for some reason the building inspector approved the house to be built, and it was built, and people lived in it and whatnot, and now all of a sudden it comes, I mean, not that you can tear the house down and bring it back to the way it was, but I'd be interested to know what the rationale behind it was and confirm that it was, you know, an error, that it didn't get recorded or didn't get released or didn't.
Going all the way back to 1998.
I will tell you that in preparation for this meeting, I tried to find the file folder for this subdivision, and I kept looking for Piapi Estates, not knowing that there was another name for it. In fact, the spreadsheet that has all the listings of the subdivisions had it listed as Piapi Estates. So I didn't realize until the chairman came to the office and showed me that Sunset Drive is actually the subdivision name. So this came to my attention about maybe a half an hour ago. I certainly would be glad on my next day here, next Tuesday, to come in and take a look through it and see if I can see anything that may have led to that.
I don't know, I personally would just feel more comfortable about it, but maybe I'm just being anal about it, I don't know.
What would it hurt to wait and double check?
They can't close on the house.
Yeah, she's kind of sweating the closing. They were supposed to close last week, and
So can we make a motion to approve contingent upon that review, and maybe you can take that home with you or something and review it and confirm with us in an email that this is what transpired, so that we can, I mean, I don't want to hold up the sale of the house, so. But
Yeah, I have no problem doing that. I mean, I just don't know if the contingent would be satisfactory to the bank. That may not be enough for them, but certainly,
Well, we can vote on it now and sign the paper, give it to you. You have to get this notarized, so you just hold off on a notification until
Okay.
you
that's fine.
do your
Yeah,
due diligence. But
absolutely.
So we don't have to wait for another meeting or even Tuesday, you know,
Right.
we can.
Yeah, I mean, if you go through the book and you figure it out, that nothing looks out of place. The only thing I'm going to say is that in reading the deed here, I found it interesting that this subdivision was done originally by a developer, Pioppi, from Southbridge, but it appears that he sold this lot off to another builder from Webster, Gunther and Sabai, who actually built the house. So maybe that's how this all transpired, because Pioppi didn't come in to get the lot released. He sold it to another builder. The builder built the house. The new builder probably thought the lot was already released, and then it never got picked up until the second sale.
Sounds reasonable.
That's what I'm looking at here. That's the only thing I can see. But, I mean,
So, Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve the release of this lot, deed book 19-169, page 312, shown on a plan entitled Pioppi Estates, Plan Book 678, Plan 39, 31 Sunset Drive, contingent upon our interim town planner, Chris Ryan, to just confirm the reasoning behind why it was not released, and if it's usual and customary, you know, process it, you know, as if it was approved tonight. And
Sounds
I
good.
so move.
okay. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Do you have a copy that you want us to sign, or just take one out of the book?
Yeah, we should take one out of the book.
So the plan will be, through the chair to the planner, the plan will be that we're essentially approved, or this is essentially approved to be released, but you will just review why, and again, in my opinion, you could use your own judgment. If it's just usual and customary, just let us know and that it's gone through. And when, so today's Wednesday, when would you be able to do that?
Well, I'll see if I can possibly get one of my staffers to come down. I actually have been assigned to another community as well, Millbury.
Okay.
So I do full-time planning services for them as well. But I'll see if I can get the assistant Dominique to come down and do the processing.
Do a
of
little
that.
research?
Yep.
Okay.
Because
Absolutely.
I really don't want to hold up the sale of the home.
Absolutely.
I don't think that would be,
I can just say that in my, my ninth year on the planning board, this would be the third time that this has happened in the town of Dudley that I'm aware of. So it's not like it's unprecedented.
Right.
Okay, and we'll go back to the agenda here. So the next item on our agenda would be item D, which would be planner's plate.
Yeah, just under tab D, there is a memorandum that describes the activities of the office over the last report. We continue to organize and clean the office. That's almost pretty much where we want it. Most of the items that have been on tabletops and on top of file cabinets are now filed away and organized. We've actually looked at three-ring binders that have had loose materials in them, and we've actually put them in tabs, and hopefully that's a much better organization, so the next time the new planner takes over, when they come here, they'll have it much better organized. We're trying to do a better job with the computer filing system as well, because some things were kind of strangely named, tabs and things like that, so we're going to do that. Like, I think there was one that said, there's like a string of different items, miscellaneous, this and that. So we're just trying to make it a little bit more kind of succinct.
Chris, do you have any idea the amount of time or the percentage of time you may have spent on those tasks alone versus your normal?
Well, a lot of the organizational tasks, the office straightening and organizing has been done by our assistant at the lower salary rate. So probably, I would say it's about 50% of her time, which is about 4 hours a week. So about 2 hours a week is spent on that kind of activity. But we've been doing it every week. I mean, even when Eric was here, there was a lot of that going on. We bought some new binders, and we've got some office supplies to be a little bit more organized and keep things in racks like documents and handouts and things of that nature. We've reposted things on the door to give better public information. The bulletin board is a little straighter and a little more accessible. The road acceptance list is also now posted on that board as well, so people can just refer to that. So I would say probably half of her time, or about two hours per week.
Has much of that material been archived?
Not yet. Not yet. But, for example, there's an entire drawer filled with VHS tapes, and we're going to archive that. What we're trying to do is, we thought that we might be able to get some bankers' boxes from the treasurer's office. We were told they had some, but they don't, so we're going to have to go out and buy them from W.B. Mason so that we can start putting a lot of this material in the dead file storage.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Okay. So, again, document protection, we're trying to get all of that stuff that's been laying out on tables and putting it away so that in the unlikely event that there might be the sprinkler system turns on, nothing will be ruined. Village district overlay, that's my project as well in terms of CMRPC. So, when a nice day comes along, maybe a nice Saturday, I'm ready to do a site walk with you folks whenever you want to do it. So just let me know, and anxious to get that moving forward. Okay, let's see. Other issues. The one thing I wasn't clear on is who updates the town road street listing. Is that something that the planner does? And do you know what the process is for that?
No, typically the roads are accepted at town meeting.
Right, but who keeps track of all that?
The town clerk.
Town clerk does, okay.
Yep.
Because apparently there are a number of roads in the most recent road acceptance list that, like for example, we spoke of one, the road acceptance list shows it still as private. So I'm just wondering, is that something that town meeting sends those new changes to the town clerk, and the town clerk then updates it when time allows?
I don't know. I know that the town clerk's at the meeting, so she knows when the changes take place. So I don't know if that, technically the Board of Selectmen are the highway commissioners for the town.
Right.
So, I don't know. I don't think it specifically falls to the planning board. It's good that we have an updated list, but I don't think that the task falls to the planning board. I would think it'd either be the town clerk referring it to the road commissioners or highway commissioners, and then they keep the list update, or maybe they hand that off to the highway superintendent. I'm not positive.
Okay. We've received a lot of phone calls in the office in regard to whether a road is public or private, what the process is for acceptance.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I should be disseminating that information or referring it to the.
Well, there is a process for road acceptance that requires that they have like as-built plans signed by an engineer, stamped and signed by an engineer. Then there's a form they have to fill out. They have to submit. I think there's a fee involved. It might be on our fee schedule.
Okay.
And then it goes to a certain town meeting. I think it's only the fall town meeting we accept new roads.
Okay.
And so they have to get like on the list. And then typically if there's somebody that wants to have a road accepted, the planning board would sponsor that article. So we would hold a public hearing, let the people who want to talk about it come in and talk about it if there's anybody, and then make a decision on whether we're going to sponsor it, positive or negative, for the town meeting.
Okay.
we may get asked to stand up and talk about it. And then after that, it's just a vote of the town meeting. Once it's voted on, then the town clerk would hand it back. Like I said, if she doesn't keep the list and change it, then she would hand that information over to, I believe it would be the Board of Selectmen's office, because like I said, they're the highway commissioners, and let them know that, yeah, it's officially accepted at the town meeting, and then they would change the list. But if the list isn't up to date from what you said, for, you know, the street that we talked about has been accepted for at least 5 years,
Right.
so.
So next time I'm in, I'll check with the town clerk, and I'll pursue that a little bit.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, you said that if the planning board has the public hearing on road acceptance, is that something that you seek information from the road department in terms of the adequacy of the
Yes.
infrastructure?
Well, what happens is that the planning board, the Board of Selectmen, and the highway commissioner, and sometimes the town engineer, if he was the engineer for the subdivision, will go out, walk the road, and everybody has a chance to see it, make sure it's in acceptable condition before we go forward. If it's something that's very old and in a mess, then there could be money, you know, if there's money left in the escrow account, it could be asked of the developer to go back and like seal coat the road, or oil it, or repave it, or whatever needs to be done.
Or if it's a really old subdivision, maybe the residents would be interested in a special assessment to take care of the inadequacy of the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I just want to be able to make sure I'm giving the right information out.
Yep. Okay.
Also, in your tabs, just to let you know, I believe it's tab G, is the CMRPC annual assessment that was received most recently. So let's see if I can find it here. For Dudley, it would be $3,028. And I did put an estimated amount in the budget when I sent the planning office budget to the town administrator.
Yep.
But this will be the exact amount, so
Okay.
he can make that adjustment.
Yep.
And then under tab H is the notices received over the past week. And then under tab I is the email that was sent out to all members by Gary Brackett in regard to the litigation.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the agenda. After planners' plate, comments from the planning board. Anybody have any comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I was, I happened to read in the newspaper that there had been some discussion about the permanent replacement of the town planner, and I know a couple of you, or maybe just you,
Marcia, too.
I had attended the selectmen's meeting.
Yep.
So can you give us a brief summary on that?
Yep, so basically I was asked to make some recommendations to the Board of Selectmen because I think, as all of you know, the Board of Selectmen sets the budget for the town hall, and we don't have a budget for an employee, so we have to go through the town hall budget for this. So there was two proposals made for part-time town planner. There was a proposal made, two other proposals made for a full-time town planner and a town planner / engineer, all of which the Board of Selectmen is asking to have this person also be responsible in some way for economic development. So that's been added to the town planner's job description as they're gonna help with any economic development they can in the town. So basically, the first one was for the first part-time job was for a town planner, less than 20 hours a week with no benefits. We would still utilize the floater or someone from town hall that could help do the minutes, and 1 or 2 hours a week help with the minutes and the filing, so that this person could actually do planning work and not just clerical work. The second part-time job was for 20 hours a week, and it was actually a split full-time planner between us and Oxford. I talked to the town manager in Oxford, and he was interested in, as you know, Nancy worked there 1 day per week. He was interested in getting another deal with, it's a part-time planner, so it would be working 20 hours for us, and we pay half the benefits, and 20 hours for them with half the benefits. He seemed very amenable to that. That would be the second least expensive option for the town. The third option was just what we had before, a full-time town planner / economic development person. With the full-time town planner, I didn't think we would need to utilize a floater from town hall to help with the minutes or something.
You wouldn't have to.
I don't
Right.
think so, no.
Mhm.
Some of the benefits I pointed out was, obviously with a full-time person, the office is going to be open every day. Some of the negatives is there's going to be times when the person doesn't have a lot to do. And then the last option was a planner, economic development person / civil engineer, for the planning board to have an on-staff civil engineer that could service the applicants that come to town that need engineering service versus us having to send it out to Graves. I know Graves does it very expediently, but right now we're averaging between $15,000 and $20,000 a year that we just take in monies from the applicants and give right back out to Graves, and that money could stay here if we employed that person. In my conversation with Oxford, they told me that they do employ their own engineer. Oxford has one. I know Douglas has one. Webster has one. I think we're probably one of the last towns around here that doesn't have our own town engineer.
Oxford used to do planner / engineer. However, they're open to having a planner, so that position change? It's just an engineer?
Yes. Yeah, the person they have now he told me they work, I believe he said 37 and a half hours a week, and it's a civil engineer that works just on that
Okay.
type of work.
Okay.
So the one thing, that I tried to express or people have to keep in mind is I don't think you're going to find someone with, a master's degree in civil engineering and a master's degree in urban planning or planning in general. So typically, probably what we're going to get if we went that route is you're going to get an engineer, and you have to find one that's willing to learn a little bit about planning and help out and do what they need to do for as far as the planning side and the economic development side. So, and of the four proposals, that's obviously the most expensive proposal.
Right.
But it does have the benefit of that money that would be paid to the town engineer now that we currently give to our contract engineer, being retained by the town. So when you look at that, it may not be the most expensive way to go. So, that's what I proposed to the Board of Selectmen. One member asked that we look into if we were to hire the last option, if we were to hire the engineer / planner / economic development person, would the town of Oxford still be interested in using this person part-time? And the other question was, would it be possible if we just went with the full-time planner, economic development person that was split 50-50 between Oxford and Dudley? Would Oxford be willing to share their full-time engineer with us? I didn't get to ask those two questions. I was contacted after the meeting by Greg Valuconis, our town administrator, who said that he was going to have a conversation with the Oxford town administrator. So I asked him if he could just dig into those two topics and get that information. The next Board of Selectmen meeting, I believe that the topics coming up is, I think, the 14th of March, which is next Monday. And so we're going to go back. My request to the Board of Selectmen was that they, take what we had proposed. Obviously, they'll get some feedback from Greg and talking with Oxford. And hopefully, when we go back on the 14th, they can give us a decision so that we could adjust we'd have to go to the Personnel Board and adjust the job description accordingly and get it advertised. Because we're coming up on, we'd like to hopefully hire this person by June when the fiscal year comes to an end, and then they can start off the next fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
in that way.
Mr. Chairman, just to let you know that today, the town administrator and myself executed the extension of the contract with CMRPC to June the 30th, which
Okay.
is the end of the fiscal year.
Great. So we have coverage until June 30th, but we would like to have somebody in place come July 1st, I would say. That's the goal, and I think if we don't start advertising, by the end of March, it's going to be hard to fill that, especially depending on what they choose for a person, obviously. If you're just looking for a town planner, I think you can find that. If you're looking for the engineer / planner / economic development person, I think that's going to be a tough set of shoes to
Mhm.
fill.
Mhm.
But it's possible. I mean, you don't know until you advertise and see what happens. So that's basically where we are right
Okay.
now.
And those templates, those ideas or proposals came from you?
Yes. Yep. I have a copy of that, so I can put it into the folder for everybody for next time.
Okay.
So, or I can email it to you. It's all online.
Mhm. Well, I think there were good recommendations. I don't recall, and it doesn't necessarily matter, whether we did or didn't talk about it, but, yeah, that I would have liked to have that conversation, just kind of understand where your head was at. And I think there were some conversations about it, but, yeah, I hadn't realized. I would have tried to attend that meeting as well if it, in fact, was open to the planning board.
What I didn't want to do is I didn't want to have a lot of discussion among this board for something that we wanted, went to the Board of Selectmen, and they say, no, we don't have the money in the budget. So
I
I'm
understand.
trying to get them to give us what they're willing to pay for, and then we'll come back and, they may even come back and say you could have option A or option B. Take your
Yeah.
pick, what you would
Yeah.
decide.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm 100% confident in, in what you feel we need, and I wouldn't have changed anything that was recommended.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I had no idea that it was going on.
I have a question. Does the scope of a planner's education and experience, can that be expanded to economic development? Is
It
that,
often is.
yeah,
Yes. It's very much a very common pairing.
yeah,
Even back in the 90s, for example, Londonderry, New Hampshire had a very successful economic development / planner position that really, I think, made a big impact in that community. And it has to be the right person, though. I think what you talk about, maybe just a planner full-time without any other responsibilities would probably be too much. I think if you added, however, economic development, that would definitely flesh out the rest of the time. And if you can be lucky enough to get somebody with some civil engineering background as well, I think that would be a great benefit to the town. But if you couldn't get that, pairing economic development and planning together, I think, would be ideal, because there's no amount of time too much spent on something like that. I mean, outreach, trying to get companies to move here, looking at different financial benefits to the town from tax breaks and things like that, grants through mass development. They become the expert at knowing where to go to get assistance from the state.
so maybe we could recommend that when they're looking to hire someone to require, well, not require, but say that that's one of our main focuses, and we're looking for somebody that's interested or has some expertise in that area, as well as planning.
Absolutely.
The economic development aspect of the job has already been added to the job description by the Board of Selectmen.
Oh,
So it's
oh,
it's already in there.
okay.
The town administrator put
Yeah.
that in already. So
Great.
the new job description that would be, that would be advertised would be that we're looking for
Mhm.
a planner / economic development person.
Yeah, that's what our
I have a
town
question,
needs.
though, Chris, while you're here. I mentioned it at the last meeting with the Board of Selectmen, is some other thing that we should be thinking about for the future, and I know Mr. Mazziotti has some background on this, is I know our master plan was last done in 2000, and I was told that, once these things expire, we are required at some point in time to create a new master plan, I'm sure, or update the old one to some degree, and that when you apply for grants and things of that sort, that one of the things they will do is look at your master plan and
Yes.
your housing reports and like, I know when Lori Connors was here, she did, I think the master plan was probably just before her or right around the time she came. And then she did, like, I think we had a housing study that was done that we went through CMRPC. They helped out with that. We did a recreational,
Open space and recreation plan?
yeah, we did that plan. There was a numerous amount of plans. I think there was like 3 or 4 that we had done and had studies put together. And since then, nothing's been done with any of this as far as I know. So, that was one of the things I mentioned to the Board of Selectmen. We need to get a person that could come in and pick up on this.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we right now have nobody that would be able to handle that. And I know in the past, we've kind of done ad hoc committees with volunteers from town to help out, but somebody needs to drive it. And
Right.
in the past, it's always been a planner.
And well, CMRPC also can help at varying levels of assistance. I mean, we certainly have the capacity to do a complete master plan for you, like we proposed to do for Oxford. We were a finalist in the bidding for doing their complete master plan. But we can also do levels below that. Right now, we're working with Mendon in helping them write their own chapters. In other words, they have a committee that each of the members of this committee is doing the writing of a chapter or 2 of the master plan, but we're coming in and helping with what kind of data should you get, how should you craft it, and then once it's written, we'll help them edit it and get it in good shape. We can also, like we did for the town of West Boylston, we could actually do complete chapters for you. We did the land use chapter and the natural resources chapter for West Boylston 2 years ago. So we can help in any way that you guys need. But yes, it does help to have that planner to kind of drive the whole process. I will say that a couple of days ago, I took a look for the master plan, and in the folder that says plans, reports, etc., there's a whole set of folders for master plan, but the master plan itself is not in there. I could not find an electronic version of the master plan on the server. When I looked in the cabinets, I did find a paper copy of the master plan, and I didn't find any CDs, but I did find 3.5-inch floppy disks that said master plan. Try to find a computer that can, call that one up these days. But I just am concerned, and I'm working with Nancy to try to figure out where I could get it. And also, I think Debbie Thibodeau is trying to help as well. But we need to find that electronic version of 2000 master plan. Otherwise, we can just scan the 2000 one as a PDF and use that as a starting point. But it would be great. Actually, we had a student inquire about the Dudley master plan, and I tried to find. Actually, that's why I tried to find it, so I could email it to her, and that's what my research kind of came up with. So.
Okay. All right, so just, like I said, I think we need to keep that in the back of our minds, too, that's something that's going to need to happen. I think the sooner the better. I think everything that we have is from back to 2000, I would say to 2003. So it's got to be, if it's not out of date, it's got to be. And do you know, are there any mandates by the state that we have to have an updated version of this at all times?
I think so.
Other than just eligibility for certain types of grants,
Grants,
no.
okay.
No, for example, Oxford last updated their master plan in 1974.
Okay.
It's
been
too bad.
it's been a
You're in
while.
pretty good shape.
Okay, okay. All right. Anything else from the board?
Yes, I got an email that there's a citizens collaborative
Oh, yeah.
citizen planner training on March 19th
At Holy
at
Cross?
Holy Cross.
Yeah.
And in the past, we typically registered for these classes through the planner. And if anybody was interested in going, is that option still viable?
I believe there's money in the budget for that if you want to attend. I don't think anybody attended last year. I know 2 years ago you and I and Marcia went, but I don't believe anybody went last year. So you can sign up yourself online, and the town can have you could get a check from the treasurer and bring it the day of the class, I believe. But,
This is the form for it,
yeah.
shredded by me. If you want to see some of the classes they're offering.
Yeah, I got the email too.
The email has the classes
Yep.
on
Is
it.
it? Okay.
Yeah, so I think you could do it online if anybody wanted to participate, and then you would just have to, I think in advance, talk to, I think it's the treasurer that would make a check out. So talk to the treasurer's office, let them know that you're gonna go to a seminar, and whatever the fee is, I think it's $200?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. And you could take, I think you can take up to 4 classes, it was,
Yeah. Our whole staff is signed up for it.
yeah.
So,
So, I mean, it was very good, informative meeting when we went 2 years ago, and that was the 3rd one I had been to. So, yeah, I think if anybody wants to go, that we can definitely take care of it, get them signed up, and talk to the treasurer's office about getting a check, so you could pick the check up and take it on the last day, because this is coming up in March.
Yeah, the registration
18th.
deadline is the 16th.
Okay.
well, I'll be next here on Tuesday, so if you folks want me to facilitate that for you, just throw me an email and I'll take care of it next Tuesday.
Okay.
Well, as long as it rains all day, I'll go.
Okay, anything else? No? Okay, I don't think we're gonna have any comments from the audience, so,
Motion to adjourn?
yep, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.